Hello, my name is Enrique Becerra, and I'm a student athletic trainer here at the Santa Rosa Junior College, and today we're going to be doing an ankle eval. So the first part is going to be history. You're going to be checking past and present history. Then you're looking at inspection, swelling, discoloration, deformity. Then you're going to move on to palpation. So for the bony palpation, looking at the shaft of the tibia and fibula, looking for fracture. Then you're going to be looking at the lateral and medial malleoli, looking for fracture. And then you're going to be looking at the dome and neck of the talus, looking for fracture. Then we're going to move on to our soft tissue. So the first soft tissue is going to be the deltoid ligaments. So you have the anterior, middle, and posterior. Then we're going to look at and that one you're going to be looking for sprain. Then you're going to move on to the anterior tibiofibular ligament, and that's going to be looking for sprain. And then you're going to be looking at the lateral ligaments. So you have the anterior talofibular ligament, the calcaneofibular ligament, and then the posterior talofibular ligament. And that one you're going to be looking for sprain. Then you're going to be looking at the peroneal tendon, looking for subluxation and tendonitis. Then you're going to move on to our special functional testing. So we have our first special test. The first special test is going to be the squeeze and refer to pain test. So you get squeezed up and down the tibia and fibula looking for fracture. Then the next special test is going to be the calcaneal bump test, and that's going to be testing for tib-fib fracture. Then we're going to move on to our stress test. So the first stress test is going to be for inversion. So for ATF, you're going to have them plantar flex and then invert. For CF, have them at neutral and invert. And then for PTF, have them dorsiflex and then invert. And then for eversion, for anterior, have them plantar flex and evert. Then for middle, have them at neutral and then evert. And then for posterior, have them dorsiflex and evert. Then we're going to move on to our anterior jaw test, which is testing for ATF and anterior deltoid. And then you move on to the posterior jaw test, which is testing for PTF. Then we're going to move on to our range of motion. You do active and passive range of motion. Today I'll be doing passive range of motion. So we have dorsiflexion for 20 degrees, plantar flexion 50 degrees, inversion, and then eversion for 5 degrees. And then we're going to move on to our resistive range of motion, which is our restrictive range of motion testing. So we have, so you're just going to resist on me as I put pressure on you. So for the first one is going to be plantar flexion. That's going to be your gastrocnemius and your soleus, and that's going to be your tibial nerve. Then you have dorsiflexion, and then that's going to be your deep peroneal nerve, and then you have ankle inversion, and then that's going to be your tibialis posterior, and that's going to be your tibial nerve. Then you have ankle eversion, and then that's going to be your peroneal longus and peroneal brevis, and both of those are going to be your superficial peroneal nerve. Then you're going to move on to our neurological testing. So you have motor, so you're just going to be copying the same motion as I do. So you have L4 is going to be ankle dorsiflexion and inversion. Then you have L5 toe extension. Then you have S1 is ankle eversion. And then S1 to S2 is going to be ankle plantar flexion. Then you move on to sensory. So we have L4, L5, S1. Then you're checking the reflexes. Then you have S1 Achilles tendon. And then you move on to blood flow test, which is your dorsal artery pulse, and recapitalization test. And then you bilateral compare.